Hello and welcome to another Unmet Style podcast. We're at In Control conference in Orlando. I'm here with good buddy Chris Coyier. So what's up?
Nothing, man. We're having a good time here at In Control.
Yeah, we are.
It's been killing it. Good speakers.
It's a good conference. You made me laugh, man. Look at me.
Cheering. I'm like a fan of this podcast.
Yeah, it's good. No, we can just keep going. So, I've been meaning to ask you. I have a couple questions about HTML5 and CSS. I wanted to run by just to get your
hot topics.
Yes, exactly. To get what your thought is. What do you say to people who pretty much only use the HTML5 doc type and do nothing else?
I'm cool with that. I guess it depends on how they act after they do that. I'd be more concerned about that. If they're like proud of using HTML5. I think that's at a totally technical, specific level. Yes, you are using HTML5 if you do that. So that's cool. Yeah. But to pretend like you're done after that is not true.
Yeah, it's true. So do you think it's ready? I mean, I've had conversations and arguments with people that say it's not ready.
That's the world's most popular HTML5 conference talk slide.
Yes,
can I use HTML5 now, followed by a slide with 200-point type with yes on it? I've seen that a few times.
I've seen that too.
So if you go to a conference, look for that.
So you would agree?
Yeah. Well, of course I agree. I mean, the drum has been beat on that,
yes.
And the generic thing is like you can use the elements, and you just need a little bit of JavaScript to get the elements to style right, and most of the stuff there's shims for fallbacks and all that type of stuff. So that everybody's heard that before. I feel like if I'm sorry if anybody's watching this, and they're like, "What is he talking about?" I'm not sure if HTML5 is ready to use or not yet. Just go watch any other conference video of anybody talking about HTML5 and you'll get up to speed pretty quickly. But
yes,
there's plenty of stuff, to say the other direction. Like, I don't want to be devil's advocate just to be devil's advocate, but here's the deal. You gotta use HTML5. Let's use the placeholder example. In HTML5 forms, you can put a placeholder attribute, and then you click in the feed, it like puts little gray text in there that says like your first name here, and then you click and it disappears or whatever. Right. That's what the placeholder attribute is, and it's kind of cool, and people have been using that for a long time, only they built it with JavaScript instead. So a popular technique then is to use the placeholder attribute, but then also write that JavaScript to replicate it in the case that placeholder isn't there. So that's really common. That's another common slide, and the HTML5 talks us to do that. And it's a little bit like understandable that a company would not want to do that. And you're like, it does the same thing, so you want me to learn something new, but then just still do it the old way that works just as well. It is a little bit like, and not only with the placeholder attribute, but every other thing in HTML5, you want me to just double my workload, basically. Or I can understand not wanting to jump on the bandwagon tomorrow for that type of thing, especially if the JavaScript alternative is like way nicer, like it would be in a date picker on a form. Well, if you do it with JavaScript, you can style that baby, you can make it look however you want, you can add in cool functionality, you can disable dates, you can do all kinds of cool stuff. Or you can use the HTML5 doc type, which only works in Opera. You can't style it or do anything with it, and it's kind of buggy. So you're like, why would I ever do that? So I don't know. I just thought it would be kind of fun to be a little realistic about HTML5 stuff.
That's anybody's going to say that. They're going to say use the right tool for the job. That's like the de facto answer, right?
Yeah, especially when both of us are very aware of what client work is and hours and billable time.
That's right.
And realistic solutions.
So I don't want to have the CSS man here and ask him all about HTML5. You were telling me earlier that you're really interested in the pseudo element, the whole way that works, and
yeah, it's going to be the new hip thing. I
decided.
Think so? Yeah. I mean, it's already getting there, but it's kind of a big deal because people like to talk about semantics.
Yes.
Back to the HTML5 world.
Right.
Always been a hot topic, super interesting, using the right elements for the job and not using extra markup for stuff that you don't need to use extra markup for. Well, pseudo elements solve a ton of those problems because you basically get 2 for every single element because you can use before and after. I mean, if, like a quick review of what a pseudo element is in CSS, you can use, your selector and then a colon and then before or after, and it gives you a new element that you can use. You can make it an image. You can put text in there. You can do all kinds of different stuff with them. They're like real HTML elements, only they just get appended in there through the CSS. So you can things that you wouldn't used to have to use non-semantic, chuck in extra divs and spans and stuff for. You don't have to do anymore. So, but I feel like their power is great, and there's just tons of neat things that you can do with them that you wouldn't think of right away. So I think I'm just going to start. That's going to be my new drum to beat or whatever.
That's a good drum. Yeah, why do you think people aren't really picking that up?
It's especially confusing because the browser support for it it's way better than even CSS3. Pseudo Elements aren't CSS3; they're CSS2. They've been around forever, and I don't know. I guess it's a little complicated. I don't know. I'm gonna try to fight.
It's kind of like font face. It's like font face is the new CSS3 thing. It's like well, not really.
Been around.
Yeah, been around for a long time.
Yeah. I love it, font face too. It's so cool.
It's awesome.
Well, you remember that one time when we used @FontFace on that website?
It's great.
That was awesome.
This is fucking awesome. Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
We're so done.